Hello viewers, welcome back. This is Top Notch TV. With you is teacher Emis Njabani, and with me is teacher Risper Okwisa. This is a continuation of our sessions on character and characterization. Please subscribe and to Top Notch TV and see the previous sessions that we did on characters. So this is our third session on characters, and we are going to look at 4 other characters during this session. We are going to start with Judge Jorden, and teacher Risper is going to take us through.
Yes, welcome. Thank you for joining us. I'll be looking at Justice Jorden. He goes by the name Ian Jorden, and he is the principal judge at the Maracas municipality. About his life, you're being told he used to have a wife, but the wife left. Now he is left with mistresses. Among them, we are learning is Ivy. The traits of Justice Jorden include, number 1, he is fearful. Justice Jorden is fearful in that, example number 1, he has ulcers, but then his ulcers intensify once he knows that he can end up in prison because of some of the scandals that touch on him. A case in quote is the grain scandal that can be found on page 115. He has ulcers, but then his ulcers are becoming worse because of fear. Example number 2, to prove that he is fearful, we see that he crouches under the boardroom table when Inspector Tajo comes in and he wants to make them answerable for their mistakes, hiding under a table. And the way he has been looking like he's so proud, it brings out the extent of fear. He is fearful. I'll move to yet another trait of Jorden, and Jorden comes out as corrupt / unjust. When we're looking at corruption as a theme, we also are able to discuss the corruption in the justice system. Therefore, we are getting some of the points over there where he is not fair in rendering his judgments. For example, illustration number 1 will be coming from page 115. On page 115, he is reluctant to prosecute the quartet as he is in bed with them. When I talk about he is in bed with them, he's asked to prosecute them for an offense that they were together in. He is, in fact, from the judgment he had rendered, he was awarded by being made a shareholder of the same company that the municipal lawyers plan to take to court. That is page 115, the reluctance to prosecute. We are also looking at another illustration that brings him out as unjust. And we are looking at the example where he manipulates his knowledge of the law to favor his own side. For example, the ruling that he made in favor of Ivy, that it was a matter of urgency. It cannot allow for bidding to take place for the best company to be given the tender. Therefore, he gave it to Ivy on such a technicality. Then on page 22, the third illustration that portrays him as unjust or corrupt. On page 22, he advises that the journalist be given boxes of chocolate to look the other way. That advocating of bribery brings him out as corrupt. I'll be moving to another trait of Jorden, and character number 3 about Jorden shall be calling him knowledgeable. This guy is knowledgeable when it comes to matters to do with the law. An illustration in place can be found on page 29. On page 29, we are learning that he is well versant with the law, and a number of times they consult him before they can make a decision. For example, they want to know where they stand in a certain issue. They will always be consulting Judge Jorden. And we are seeing on page 29, he is giving them legal advice, warning them of malicious damage of private property. When they're talking about hacking, he tells them his stand, where he stands in terms of the law. He is knowledgeable about the law, making him a trait that we called knowledgeable. We go to trait number 4, and we want to describe him as patronizing or arrogant. A patronizing person is one who adopts a superior complex He feels that he is better than other people. And a number of times, we see that Jorden is putting the others down, feeling that he's better than them, an arrogant person. Among the examples of his arrogance can be found on page 29, where he tells the others, I went to school. He says that him telling them that he went to school, what is he suggesting? That they never went to school? Or if they went to school, is he suggesting that maybe their schools were half-baked? But now he reminds them, I went to school, as if they never went to school. He's already putting himself above them, bringing him out as patronizing or arrogant. To further illustrate on arrogant, we are going to look at page 102. And on page 102, when Mosi attempts to blackmail him when they're together with Inspector Bembe, he tells Mosi that he had a good upbringing and a sound education. He tries to, when he tells someone I had a good upbringing, I had a sound education, you're trying to tell someone, I am not of your class. Therefore, on page 102, he also comes out as patronizing. I'll be moving to the last illustration, to the last trait. I'll be moving to the last trait on Judge Ian Jorden, and I'll be calling him hypocritical / deceitful. He is deceitful on page 105, on page 104 to page 105, when at first they bring to his attention the knowledge that he is involved in the Rodent Gate and the grain scandals. He tries to downplay his involvement. He says, are you bringing to book Ivy or is it me? He tries to disassociate himself from Ivy and he pretends to have nothing to do with it until they corner him and ask him later, aren't you a shareholder? But at first, he was trying to get away with it using lies, using deniability. Still on him being hypocritical, I'll give another illustration and I'll say, he is reluctant to prosecute the Ramdae alliance because he is guilty of the same offense they are being accused of. And all along when they are telling him they fight against the Samaritan, he has always been saying that he is mindful of his professional integrity. He has always been telling them that it's like he doesn't have any skeletons in his closet. And also when they ask him to prosecute the quartet, he says, I'm mindful of my professional integrity. Which professional integrity? That later on, it comes to be known that he is guilty as charged of the others. Therefore, that is why he is reluctant to prosecute them. A quick rush through the role of Justice Jorden. I'll be looking at, he enhances plot development. He propels the story forward. For example, after he has been cornered, that is when he says, I need to bring these two warring pacts to the table so that I'm also playing it safe. That is plot development. Number 2, themes. He enhances themes, develop themes such as hypocrisy. He is really pretending. And also enhances the character traits of others, e.g., Mosi as intimidative or threatening when Mosi blackmails him about spilling the beans about the Rodent Gate scandal. That is it about Ian Jorden. We are going to move further with the characters and Teacher Emis will give us another character.
Thank you, Tr.Risper. So we are going to look at the next character, Honorable Basdeo, and we are just going to look at a few of his traits, not all of them, just 4 or 5. So he is the opposition leader of the Maracas municipality. So he was the leader of the opposition party. So the first one is brought out as optimistic. Page 19, at the end of Act 1, Scene 1, it says that he smells a new delicious dawn. So it means that now that there is the invention of the Samaritan and he has listened to the students talking about it, he feels like now things are going to change in Maracas municipality. The leaders who are new leadership. He is also optimistic that he might end up getting the seat of the mayor as the leader of the opposition. Number 2 is scheming or cunning, page 81. he comes up with the plans together with Ramdaye and Ted and Seymour. He comes up with plans to bring down the downfall of Morsi. For example, he says they can alienate him from his own people, incite people against Morsi, blame him for tribalism as well as misuse of power. They say that if they do so, then they are going to alienate Morsi from the public or his own supporters, and then it's going to be very easy to now pass a vote of no confidence on him. So that's someone who is scheming. Then he's also deceitful. He wants to lie to the public that all municipal funds are committed to developing wards that are occupied by Morsi's ethnic group. At some point, Honorable Ted tells him, but that is a lie. He admits. That is page 82. He says, yes, it is true. That is a lie. And indeed, he is fabricating lies. He says politics is not about truth. So he does not even hide the fact that he's lying. He says that in politics, you have to lie. It's a game full of lies. So when he's asked by Ted, you're telling lies, he says, yes, it is true. It is a lie, but politics is not about truth. Then he's also brought out as corrupt, page 125. He suggests that they should bribe Nicole by giving her a powerful position in the municipality so that she can join their team and agree to filter information that comes in the Samaritan app that damages their reputation or paints them as bad leaders. So he's also brought out as corrupt during the grain scandal, because we are told that after the E and Ramdai threatened to expose the Rodden Gate, is that Rodden Gate, right? Rodden Gate scandal, as they called it, Nicole gave them some money as well as some shares in the Prime Orchard Limited, so is brought out as corrupt. The last one is also fearful. When in the last scene of the book, when Inspector Tajo comes with other police officers and announces that he has come to arrest all of them because they are needed at the end quarters for cushioning, Basel, together with the other leaders, try to hide. Some even hide under the tables. Another one hides behind Nicole. So all of them at that point are brought out as a fearful lot. So we can say that Basel is also fearful. I am not going to go through his laws because they're the same as what we have been mentioning from the beginning. If you check our first session on characters, the laws for each character are actually, they're just repetitive. The only difference is that one develops a theme of corruption, another one will develop the theme of betrayal, but it's very easy to find out the theme that is being developed by a particular character. So we now move on to our second last character, that is
Nicole.
Teacher Nicole, and Tr.Risper is going to take us through.
Yes, I'll be discussing Teacher Nicole. And about Teacher Nicole, you can say that she is a teacher at Segrada Secondary School. She teaches them ethics as well as she is their innovations teacher. Traits of Nicole include the following. Number one, she is moral, uncompromising, incorruptible. We are moving towards the same illustrations. And how is she incorruptible? When Morsi tries to compromise her by offering her money, she threatens to expose him through the Samaritan. Do you want me to give this information to the Samaritan that you're trying to bribe me? That is someone who is incorruptible and uncompromising. We are going to a second illustration, and we are talking about page 53. On page 53, when the students express some kind of fear on behalf of their teacher, they fear for their teacher, she goes ahead and she asks them to stand firm and make the leaders to do the right thing. She's uncompromising. Despite you pushing me to the wall, I'm asking these students still to stand firm, making the leaders to do the right thing. A third illustration on uncompromising can be found on page 3. According to the stage directions, Nicole is being described as an uncompromising moralist. The last illustration on her being uncompromising or incorruptible can be found on page 94. When Mayor Morsi wants information to be filtered, she does not agree to that. We move to yet another trait of Nicole, and we shall be calling her brave, courageous, or bold. She is brave, courageous, or bold, as can be found on page 95. When she is being accused of stealing the school generator, we do not see her becoming a coward, but instead, she tells Inspector Bembe that if he keeps up with those allegations, it will be the darkest day of his career. You can imagine being faced by an Inspector General of Police and you are still also threatening back. That brings out a lot of boldness, a lot of courage. On page 57, she faces her superior, Principal Narin, suggesting her unwillingness to abandon their ingenious innovation. She is telling her superior, you can imagine telling your boss, are we supposed to abandon the ingenious innovation? In other words, she is not willing to do it, even if the order is coming from her superior, Principal Narin. And then on page 66, we still have another illustration bringing her out as courageous. She is asking Mosi to his face why he won't have his allies prosecuted. She faces him and asks him the question. The third character trait of Nicole, she is orderly or neat. This can be found on page 87. When she comes in for her ethics class, she asks one of the students to pick a piece of paper and asks the others to arrange the desks in an orderly manner because disorder cannot allow for learning. We also look at another trait of Nicole. We shall call her diplomatic. A diplomatic person chooses peace in solving issues. On page 132, she comes out as diplomatic when she accepts the apology from the municipal officials. When they come and say it was nothing personal, we were just doing our job. If I could just paraphrase, she goes ahead and says, I accept your apology. The other trait of Nicole, the last one, I'll be calling her lawful or just. She is just in that she is accepting the full extent of the law to be used. When Meamosi says that it will be used to spread falsehood, she goes ahead and tells him, you can take it up with the court. In other words, even if it is Mosi who has been offended, she will be supporting the side of Mosi to take it up to the court where the identities of the people who are posting, they'll have to be unmasked and they'll have to answer to these charges. As my colleague had said, the role remains the same. As I'm going to the role, we can always be talking about plot development, enhancing the themes of others. But at this point, I only want to add one more role of Nicole. I'll be saying, among the common ones you've learned, we can add another one that will say, she is the protagonist in the story or the heroine in the story, therefore voices the concerns of the author. Through the protagonist, we're able to see what direction is the author taking us. What is the author preaching about? That is it about Nicole. I'll be handing it back to Teacher Emis. Could you finish up?
Yeah, thank you. So we are winding up with our two students, Alvita and Montano, the two students of Sagrada Secondary School who came up with the winning innovation, the Samaritan. So how have they been portrayed in this play? The first one, they are also brought out as fearful, as apprehensive, because they are afraid that the Samaritan app may cause trouble, especially for Teacher Nicole. And at some point, they approach her and they suggest that actually they give it up. They are afraid that it might lead to the arrest of Teacher Nicole, and they want to give it up instead of fighting with the municipal leaders. That is page 49 and 50. They are also brought out as concerned and caring. They are concerned about the welfare and safety of their Teacher Nicole. That is page 50. And they are willing to give up something they have worked so hard for, the Samaritan Hub, for the safety of their teacher. Then they're also brought out as knowledgeable, creative, and wise. They came up with the best innovation that actually we are told that it was the winning innovation in the national competition. And it was even purposed to be launched by the president himself come the beginning of the following academic year. That is page 3. So them coming up with that innovation alone shows that they are knowledgeable, they are wise, as well as creative. Number 4, the two students are brought out as optimistic or hopeful. They believe that the municipal can be can have a better future through the Samaritan and a better use of public resources by the leaders, page 10 and page 12. This is clearly brought out in Alvita's visions for the future. Is at the end of it all, she says that my visions can be achieved if the Samaritan gets into use and people use the Samaritan to expose the ills in our society, and then do the Samaritan, people or the leaders are forced to use the public resources for what they were meant for in such a way that we can have a better future. So there are students that are optimistic that the municipality is going to be changed for better by their application. Then the last one, they are brought out as obedient. The two would listen. They believed, actually trusted and listened to the teacher Nicole, and whatever she taught them, they believed in it and they obeyed it. So they are brought out as obedient. So the laws, we said we are not going to repeat them. The themes that they bring up or they help to develop, how they bring out the traits of teacher Nicole and other characters in the story, as well as develop the style of play within a play among other styles. So that's it for the students that we have. And we have come to the end of our sessions on characters and characterization. But our learners, just like Teacher Risper told you, please go to YouTube, search Top Notch TV, press that subscribe button, and to see all the education materials that are on that site. Until next time, it's a bye-bye.